Oh, it failed off. I will deal with that while we're live. Hey guys, welcome to another one of our live session. We're here to answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. It is Sunday, January the 10th here in New Zealand. It's the middle of summer. It's really warm, really hot, humid. Like it's genuinely like a real New Zealand summer at the moment. And yeah, so we're here to answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand because we kind of are the experts of traveling in New Zealand. But Laura, why are we the experts?
Well, this is Robin and I'm Laura, and we're the team behind nzpocketguide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide because it literally has thousands and thousands of articles to help you plan your trip to New Zealand. Of course, when you are able to plan your trip to New Zealand. But there's never, well, when you're actually able to come to New Zealand, because you can plan at any time. It's never too early to plan. That way you can make sure that you don't miss anything once you get here. But yeah, so we basically do a ton of articles on nzpocketguide.com covering all sorts of travel in New Zealand, ranging from family travel to budget to luxury to even honeymoons and couple travel. So we cover all that stuff there, and that's the best place to get to your questions about traveling in New Zealand answered. But if you're not really into reading, there's another place you can come, which is right here on the live chat right now, which we do every single Sunday, 8 a.m. New Zealand time. If you want to know what time the next scheduled live chats are in your time zone, we do have a link in the description below, which basically tells you just that. So yeah, throughout the week, if you do have any questions and you miss our live session, then you can put your questions in the comments of any of our YouTube videos, which we pull together just like this, and we'll go through that today. And we will then go through that during the live session.
Here you go. So we already have some questions. So as usual, we're going to read every comments that we get in the live chat. That's what we do here, and we chat with you guys. So we already have Anthony Comstock, which is giving us an update from California, USA. So he got his vaccine shot on Monday, and he had all he had was a little soreness in the arm and a little tired, but all is going well. I will get my second shot on the 25th of January. Oh, that's awesome. So it's a 2 shot to get the vaccine. Is that the one that you're getting? Because I know some of them are 3 shots, some of them 1 shot, some of them are 2 shots. So interesting. That's really cool.
Awesome.
So here you go, our first vaccinated viewer. That's pretty nice. We also have Why in the World that says, good morning, Laura and Robin. I like the hike at the lake. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in the community tab of our channel, we posted a picture of us with Why in the World. He kind of messaged us and was like, hey, I'm on the North Island. You guys want to go for a walk? And we said yes. So we all went for a walk around the little lake. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, thank you for joining us, mate. That was really awesome.
Yeah, that was so cool.
I hope that you were not too tired afterwards. Extreme Talota says, Morena, guys, how are we? We're doing pretty well. Thank you very much. So if you guys don't know what Morena means, it means good morning in Maori, which is the local indigenous language. We have Kiwi Lauren on board, which says, last Saturday afternoon rehearsal, and then our production is over. Hi from Canada. Kiwi Lauren, how are you doing? Anthony is confirming that his vaccine is 2 shots. That's cool. That's cool. MB is giving us some bad news about the US, saying that the death due to COVID topped 300,000, which is not great indeed. And he also says, good morning all.
Good morning.
Maybe you should start with good morning before starting with the bad news. Adrian Lace, hello friends, I am really hoping I can come to New Zealand sometime this fall and winter. Much love from Canada. Very much love from New Zealand, Adrian. Hopefully things get better. As you saw from our latest video prediction for the border openings, it may take a wee while, but fingers crossed it will happen. And you'll get to come and travel New Zealand, but at least you get some time to plan with us.
Yeah.
So
you're referring to the borders opening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jonathan Dadon says, hello from Israel. I am planning a trip to the South Island next September. I already got vaccinated. Any prediction regarding any regulations for tourists? Thank you. So if you watch our latest video with our predictions for border opening, to find it is really easy. You go on our channel and then you click on video and just browse a little bit through the video and you'll find something, bright red and yellow. There is a New Zealand border predictions, and we talk about that then. But we don't think that within 2021, being vaccinated or not being vaccinated will actually give you any advantages to come to New Zealand. We think the borders will still remain closed. Just because New Zealand hasn't even started, vaccinating people in the country. So for this reason, the fact that taking vaccinated people across the border is not necessarily deemed safe yet by New Zealand authority. They think that maybe someone could carry the virus despite the fact that they're vaccinated, all those kind of things. So for this reason, I don't think that's going to give you an advantage this year. Maybe in 2022, but so far this year, it doesn't look too good. But obviously, it's a situation that always evolves and changes all the time. So maybe things are going to change in the near future. And that's why we do regular updates with our predictions and with all the information that we get in our travel news section. So stay tuned. We will release a new travel news video probably around the end of January with new informations. Kiwi Lauren says, I'm great. Beautiful sunny winter day full of snow here in Saskatchewan. Wow.
Nice.
I would like some snow right now. It's really hot here in New Zealand.
No, I would not like some snow. I quite like it right now.
Milandino Physio says, any update about international student visa process and border opening? When will the visa will start processing? No, we didn't have any update this week. So same than last week. So check out the video with our border opening prediction. No update so far. And Martina from Germany says, hi guys, greetings from Germany. We had snow for the last days.
Oh,
nice. So wintry, so Christmas.
And there's us in our shorts.
Yeah.
Living the summer
and complaining
life.
is way too hot. So while you guys are getting warmed up with some more questions with us, we actually did receive some questions this week in the comment section of any other video. That's a great way for you guys to actually ask us some questions. And this question comes from
Lubos1. He asks, hey guys, I'm moving, or he, she, whoever it is, asks, hey guys, I'm moving to New Zealand in November 2021 with a working holiday visa. I'm thinking of going to Auckland, and I wanted to know the pros and cons to be moving there on that kind of visa. I also wanted to know which city would you recommend the most for someone going to New Zealand with a visa like that, and how to know if it's the right choice of city. Thank you for your videos. They help me a lot.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
So the working holiday visa quickly is a visa that allows people from 42 different countries to come to New Zealand to work and travel for about a year. There are different conditions. Some of them can come for 24 months. Some of them can only come for 6 months. But in general, that is what it is. The visa is also only available to people usually which are under 30 years old. Some of them goes up to 35, but that is it. So that's a visa that usually people use to come and explore New Zealand for an extended period of time. So we're talking usually people coming for 6 months to a year. So when considering some locations for you, Lubos, we I just like that name. We obviously were thinking about something that you will enjoy for an extended period of time. So let's get started with the pros and cons of doing your working holiday visa in Auckland. So first up, some of the pros is that Auckland is a really large city, so you'll be able to mingle with a lot of people. This is the place where you will have some of the best nightlife. The second best will be Queenstown, and after that, there's not going to be much nightlife in New Zealand because that's not what New Zealand is known for. There is going to be really easy shopping in Auckland, easy commuting with good public transport. And there is plenty of jobs in Auckland as well. So that encompasses quite a lot of the pros for living in Auckland. Now, some of the cons for living in Auckland during your working holiday visa are that in Auckland, yes, there is a lot of job, but there is also a lot of more people looking for jobs. So the job to people ratio is actually way lower than in some of other cities of New Zealand. So that means that, yes, you will have more jobs to apply for, but for each of the job, you will compete with much more people. Let's say you'll compete with 11 other candidates for a waiting job, while maybe in a town like Rotorua, you may just compete with only 3 other people. So you have much greater chance to land a job somewhere else. Also, because there is more people in Auckland, the cost of life in Auckland is way higher. Rent is way higher. The cost of everything, like going out and food and everything, tend to be way higher than anywhere else. There is good public transport in Auckland, but sadly, that also comes with a lot of traffic. So you will actually, encounter traffic jams in Auckland quite regularly. And also it's a sprawling, really megalopolis big city. So for this reason, Auckland is so big, you may just have a hard time getting out of the city and getting that wilderness New Zealand experience. So for this reason, we don't think Auckland is the best place to actually spend your working holiday visa. It's a great place when you arrive in New Zealand to actually spend about 1 week and get everything settled, opening your bank accounts, doing all the paperwork that you need to do, like, setting up a phone number and all those kind of things, applying for your IRD number, all those kind of things. And we do have other videos on the channel for that, and plenty of tips, all in writing without me speaking super fast, on nzpocketguide.com. It's written right here, and it's the largest travel guide to New Zealand. And there's a whole section on working holiday visas. So yeah, you click on work in New Zealand, then you have all the working holiday stuff there. So it's a great place to get all that started. But then we actually advise you to get out of the city and get somewhere else. There's many other cities that are really awesome to find a job and also experience the whole of New Zealand. Laura will go over those in a minute. But the best way to actually spend your working holiday visa in New Zealand is to actually plan your trip within 2 working stations. So let's say you're going to spend, about 3 months working in Rotorua, saving some money, and then traveling a little bit around, and then 3 months working somewhere on the South Island, and saving some money and traveling around. That's the best way to plan a working holiday visa, rather than being sedentary in Auckland, in which you're not going to experience New Zealand wilderness whatsoever. All right, so what are some of the best cities where you can actually do some working holiday visa and experience the awesome New Zealand wilderness?
One of the first cities that springs to mind is Christchurch, which is the largest city on the South Island. And unlike Auckland, Christchurch, it's a little bit easier to get out and do some really cool road trips, to see some of that New Zealand scenery that you've probably seen loads of pictures of the beautiful snowy Southern Alps, or maybe even taking, your weekend off and going down to Queenstown, for instance. Christchurch generally tends to be a good place to basically explore a little bit more of New Zealand, because of course it's a bit of a shame to come all the way to New Zealand just to stay in one city. New Zealand is definitely worth exploring. Also, another good place to go on the South Island is Dunedin. That's a really cool city. It's mostly, people tend to know it more as quite a student type city. There's very popular university there. But with that means that there's actually some affordable housing and, sort of affordable groceries, that sort of thing. And also, yeah, it's a good place to sort of explore some of the South Island as well. Other places, maybe on the North Island, you could go to Rotorua. Although most people would see this as a large town, it is actually classed as a city. But generally, the cost of living is a bit lower than if you were to live in Auckland, for instance. And you're in a good central location on the North Island to do lots of exploring of the North Island. So yeah, just quickly going over some other cities that are well worth looking into. But on your question as well, you did ask, how do you know what's the right choice of city when you come to do a working holiday visa in New Zealand? And we strongly recommend actually to do some traveling once you arrive in New Zealand before choosing a city, because although you can do a ton of research online about the different types of the different cities around New Zealand, you can get a completely different feel, and it's, your expectations could be, quite wrong once you get to the city you arrive in, and it's like, oh, this is not what I expected, or it could, surpass all expectations and be the best thing ever. You don't really know until you get to the city. So we strongly recommend saving a bit of money before you come to New Zealand so you can afford to travel. For about a month is a good, at least a month to start with. Exploring the country and seeing where would be a really nice town or city to be in. So yeah, that's kind of our pro tip for you there. And that's what we would recommend the most of all. Do a bit of exploring before you decide on a city.
Yeah, so that's really important to point that out. Like, the more you actually get to explore around New Zealand, the more you're going to find some places where you're going to say, oh, I wish I would spend more time there. So don't just, strand yourself in Auckland and work and save pennies on the dollars because you spend so much trying to afford the expensive cost of living. Auckland is one of the most expensive city to live in the world, and then not being able to save anything. And then when you get to travel around New Zealand, you wish you were somewhere else. Trust the experts. We've both been on a working holiday visa in New Zealand, and yeah, we both learned from those experiences. Yeah. So I hope that was super useful for you, Ludos, this video, and I hope that you got to get some useful information out of it. If not Ludos, and you did find this video useful as well, you're very welcome. If you want to reward us for all our hard work, you can hit the like button. You can also subscribe to the channel. We're here for you and to advise you on all matters of traveling in New Zealand. You can also check out nzpocketguide.com, which is the largest travel guide to New Zealand. And meantime, thanks for watching. Let's go back to live chat. All right, so where are we on? Jonathan Dadon said, thank you very much for the detailed answer. Best wishes from Israel. Oh, that's really nice. Thank you very much. Michael Connell says, good morning, guys. Good video with Clay from Dunedin. Yeah, that was fun to hang out with Clay and just chat a little bit about his tips for traveling in Dunedin. It'd be fun to do it with you as well whenever you do have time and good location and good internet. And there's so many requirements.
So many conditions.
Yeah, it's hard to talk with us. It's very, very hard. Mohan Divya says, when will the border... when does the New Zealand border opens, Laura?
Well, there's been no official announcement just yet of when the New Zealand borders will open. And for those of you that don't know, the borders to New Zealand are closed right now to everyone except for New Zealand residents and New Zealand citizens. And anyone that does come into the country does have to spend 2 weeks in quarantine when they arrive. So basically, yes, the borders are closed to New Zealand, and there has been no mention of when the border restrictions are going to be lifted. So currently, right now, it is a bit of a wait and see game. We have no new updates for you with this live session. But if you do want to see our border predictions, when we think they may be opening, just due to all the different news and announcements that the government have made previously, then you can check our video out on our channel. It's very easy to find. It's basically the big bright red and yellow video thumbnail there for you to find. So you can go check out our border predictions video to get a little bit more insight into that subject.
All right, Christina Holden says, good morning from Canada. Now I remember you from Canada, by the way. I did just register it in my head. Or wrote it down on a piece of paper and tried to remember it. That's probably what it was. So she says, just got back from grocery shopping, sunny and cold day. I hope you're both well. We're both very well. Thank you very much for that. New Zealand, because New Zealand is doing so well, COVID-wise, we kind of like, it's a weird feeling a lot, because we've been talking to a lot of people overseas this week. And the fact that, every time, we say like, oh, I hope he's doing well. And people are like, oh, yeah, like I got to get out once and do those kind of things. It just feels really weird, because for us, life is kind of normal at the moment. So for this reason, it's just kind of weird. But yeah, we're doing very, very well. And we feel ourselves being extremely lucky compared to kind of other people and everything.
Yeah.
All right. So while you guys are getting warmed up with some other questions, we did receive another question from Antonia. So Antonia from Saskatchewan, actually, that's where Kiwi Lauren is as well. So Antonia from Saskatchewan is saying she's going to be staying in Dunedin for a while, and she wants to know, what are the kids' activity available in Dunedin? So it's funny, we just published a video with Clay where we actually talked about things to do with kids in Dunedin, and there is kind of a lot to do with kids in Dunedin. And let's get started with some stuff to do in Dunedin, which involve wildlife.
So what kid doesn't love nature and wildlife? It's really cool to go and see some of the amazing wildlife that you can particularly see on the Otago Peninsula, which is just a short drive from Dunedin City. And you actually have quite a few different options to see wildlife there. First of all, you can go on a tour with the Elm Wildlife Tour, which will actually pick you up from your accommodation in Dunedin and take you to private conservation areas and the Royal Albatross Centre on the Otago Peninsula. So you can see all sorts of different wildlife. You can see seals, sea lions, there's the little blue penguins, the yellow-eyed penguins, and beautiful giant albatross as well, the Royal Albatross. So yeah, there's lots of different types of animals you can be seeing, and kids usually really love those sorts of trips to go see the animals as well. So yeah, that's one option there. But also on the Otago Peninsula, there's, if you want to look for a shorter tour, there's Penguin Place, which is a conservation area to go see yellow-eyed penguins, which are one of the rarest types of species of penguins in the world, not just Dunedin. And then that's also home to the Royal Albatross Centre, which has two really cool tours there. They do a Little Blue Penguin Colony tour, which you go just as it gets dark. You can go onto a viewing platform and watch the little blue penguins come into shore and waddle to their nests, which is always really cool to see. But alternatively, they do a bit of a tour to a Royal Albatross colony, and you get really good close-up viewings of some of the largest seabirds in the world. So that's always a really impressive sight as well.
All right, so next up, if you want the kids to stretch their legs, you have the Dunedin Botanic Garden, which is quite large, a lot of flowers, a lot of big space. Get them to run around, get them tired so they go to bed and sleep well at night, that's that's always a good one. You definitely
Yeah.
want to exhaust them a little bit. But if you want to educate them, you do have the Otago Museum, which is a fantastic museum, super interactive, like a lot of, and we do have a video of us exploring it on the channel. A lot of interactive attractions. I don't think no experiments, I'll say, no attractions. But yeah, you also have a butterfly garden over there. It's always cool to get to see insects and everything like that. So there is really kind of a lot of things for the kids to do, and things. It's not a boring museum basically, and so I think it's kind of worth pointing out. But it's not the only not boring museum in Dunedin, is it?
Yeah. So another really popular museum in Dunedin is the Toitū Settlers Museum, and this basically tells the story of all the settlers that arrived in New Zealand, ranging from the early Maori to the European settlers. And in Dunedin, there's a strong Scottish settlers heritage there as well, and they also have quite interactive exhibitions there. A really cool one that we can remember is going onto a settler's ship, and you get to basically see like what not a settler's ship, but like a migration ship from Europe, and you get to see the sort of conditions that people migrating to New Zealand would have been in for that long journey to New Zealand. So that's quite a cool museum to check out as well.
All right, so if you are really into wildlife and the kids didn't get enough wildlife in the first few times, you actually have some kayak tours available, just so you're aware. So I just kind of that springs in my mind. So you can do kayak tours to go check out seals and even some albatross and everything like that. So that's quite awesome.
Shall we keep on going?
Yeah, keep on going, yeah.
So another attraction in Dunedin is New Zealand's only castle, which is Lanark Castle. Kids usually like to see that because castles are quite cool. So it's got a small entry fee to get to the castle grounds and the gardens. The gardens are quite a popular attraction there, and it has really awesome views across the Otago Peninsula and back to Dunedin. You can also have a quick sort of look around the interior of the castle too. That's quite a cool sort of very different attraction, because obviously you don't get to see that many castles in New Zealand. So if you're looking for something a little bit unique and different, then that's an option.
Now, if it's pouring down with rain, there are still some options in Dunedin. There is an ice rink where you can go, do some ice skating, and fall on your butts, which is what I do most of the time. And there's also something called Megazone where you have like laser tag and arcades and those kind of things. I think they have bowling. Do they have bowling?
Yes, I think
they have bowling as well.
Bowling,
so you can do like a lot of like kind of family kind of activities in there. So that's a pretty good place to hang out if you have kids and it's pouring down with rain.
Yeah.
Okay, let's finish with probably the most iconic photo op in Dunedin.
Yes. So the last thing you can do for traveling the last thing you can do when you're looking for things to do in Dunedin with kids is go to the famous Baldwin Street. And this is in the Guinness World. I'm having trouble speaking today.
Speaking is hard.
Guinness World Book of what is that?
The Guinness Book of Records of Worlds. World's Guinness Book of Records.
It holds the world record of being the steepest street in the world. So if you're looking for some fun family photo opportunities, then you can go to this really steep residential street, make your way up to the top, which is always quite the mission, but don't worry, it's not too long of a walk.
Certainly the kids will sleep well after that day.
Yes, but you can get some cool photos where you can make the street look straight, but the buildings behind look wonky, or vice versa, and it's a really hilarious place to go. So if you have your own car, because it is a little bit out of town, then you can drive to Baldwin Street and snap up those photos.
Here you go. So I hope that was useful, that we gave you enough things for you to do with kids in Dunedin, Antonia. I hope you'll be able to keep them busy. We try to get some stuff for like all different kind of ages, so you may be able to fit, because you didn't tell us how old were your kids. So you may be able to fit some stuff there.
Yeah.
And if your name is not Antonia and you did find that useful, you can hit the like button, hit subscribe, say thank you for all your hard work. You guys are awesome. And you can check out nzpocketguide.com, and there's a link in the description below as well with an article of things to do with kids in Dunedin with even more options. So I hope that you guys are gonna find that super useful. In the meantime, let's go back to the live chat. So we have Damien that says that I hope that in 2023 the borders will be reopened in New Zealand. Do you think 2023 is reasonable?
I think by 2023 that is pretty reasonable. It's a little bit like unsure when and if the borders will open in 2021. Hopefully by 2022 the borders will be open, but I think hopefully as long as there's no new strain or new crazy virus that comes out between now and 2023, I think it's fair to say that the borders will be open by 2023.
Steve Changela says, brilliant show, guys, and give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. So here you go. What can we do better to get a 6th star, Steve?
I think probably not stumbling on our words so much during this live
session. What's that book
today.
with all the records on there?
Though I don't actually know which route. Guinness Book of World Records.
I think we need to settle that.
Yeah.
MB is still talking about what YouTube algorithm is. It has nothing to do with monetization, just so you're aware. Your comments don't affect what we say that affects that. Kshitij says, hi guys, how are you? We're doing pretty well. It is a fantastic summer day here in New Zealand. It's extremely hot and humid. It's just one of those days when you kind of like, okay, it is genuinely summer in New Zealand. Mohammed Radwan says, when the winter restarts, if it's all gone away, I don't really know what you mean. But so New Zealand is a southern hemisphere, right? So we basically are the opposite than what you have in the northern hemisphere. So the New Zealand winter is June, July, and August, if I'm correct, yeah?
Yes,
June, July, and August. So that's the 3 months of New Zealand actual winter, like the actual winter season. I don't know if that's what you were asking, but probably what that is. Cool. Extreme Talota says, well, you guys have a good day. I'm going to start getting ready before the bros come over for a run. Every Sunday you go exercise. I like your dedication.
You guys are so healthy. Or fit, at least.
Clay says, I made it. Hi all. Hey, Clay, we literally just were talking about things to do with Skids in Dunedin and getting inspired by
you could have chimed in with some suggestions.
Yeah. But yeah, so you may have to rewind and see if what we say to do with Skids with Dunedin is good enough. Adil Mula says, Kia ora.
Kia ora.
So Kia ora, Adil. What does Kia ora means?
It means, I think it just generally means welcome.
Yeah.
Something like that.
All right, cool.
It's a greeting of like hello, but it doesn't exactly mean hello. It means something like welcome. Yeah. Maybe Extreme Talauta can tell us the exact translation.
Yeah. So MB, just so you're aware, I do understand that there's a spreadsheet of demonetized words on YouTube, but we're not going to go over that. It's whatever we say that will work. Whatever you guys put in the comments does not affect that, or otherwise people will go all around and demonetize video just for the sake of doing so. So that doesn't apply. I was just giving you a tip because we got a big red warning on the screen as soon as you put your last comment, and I was just trying to say that. So we're not having a debate on
open a can of worms.
Yes, we're not having a debate on how YouTube works and everything like that, especially because that's one of the subjects that YouTube doesn't like. So that's maybe actually not a good idea. So yes, okay, that's fine. I'm just not gonna go over. Let's just leave it for now. I'm just gonna go over the details. I try to be upfront and honest with what happened, but next time I just press on the button and that's okay. I just let YouTube do his things. Extreme Talota says, we just started running every day. Kia ora means hello and thank you. So that's pretty good.
Cool.
That's a nice word. A lot of Maori words tend to have like a double kind of meanings, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So, guys, now that we are full in 2021, we're going to give you a little bit of an update on what will happen, with the channel in 2021. So, one of the things that we want to keep doing is that we want to keep traveling, talking about traveling in New Zealand. I do know that for a lot of our international viewers, it's not really an option this year. According to our prediction, we don't really see the New Zealand borders open unless you're from Australia and from some of the South Pacific Islands, but we don't really see the borders opening until the end of the year, if not 2022. If you wanted to get more information about when we actually, see the borders opening and what's our train of thought, there's a video on our channel with our border predictions in when we think that the borders will open and all the reasoning behind it. But despite that, we think that gives us a lot of time for, to help you guys plan your trip to New Zealand. It gives you a lot of time to actually plan the trip to New Zealand, which is a little bit more unique. A lot of time when New Zealand is just open and ready for you guys to be able to travel, a lot of people just jump on the plane and start traveling, and there is not much of a leadway to plan, because you literally just can show up at the airport and jump on the plane. So not that many people actually extensively plan their trip to New Zealand, but now we all have the time to do that. So you may be able to have a more unique trip to New Zealand than most other people have, and explore some regions which are usually less explored, such as the East Cape of the Northern End, which is a fantastic region bathed in Maori culture with amazing wildlife and stunning sceneries that so little amount of people actually get to explore. So we'll be able to help you plan your trip. So we will still focus on mostly traveling in New Zealand, and our videos about, like visas and borders opening and everything will be still restricted to something about once a month. This is not what the channel is about. And there are plenty of YouTube channels which are doing a really good job talking about immigrating in New Zealand and all that, that kind of subject. So for this reason, we're still going to be focusing on traveling in New Zealand. We also have some more of the New Zealand's biggest gap year videos that are going to come out. They're still going to come out at the rate of 2 videos every single week, just to keep that content, that kind of like travel vibe kind of keep going. We're still going to have all our tips video to keep on going, and we want to have more guests on our real peoples of New Zealand. So if you have some people in New Zealand which want to chime in onto like things to do in Dunedin, like we just did with Clay, contact us on Facebook. We'd love to actually set up a Zoom call and kind of record a little bit of your take of traveling in New Zealand. We want to do more of those because we want to get some more local tips to all travelers around. Should they be like, someone from Auckland trying to travel to Dunedin, or someone from Singapore trying to travel to Dunedin? We want to keep doing those things. So we'll be doing those things as well. I'm also going to be releasing travel tips videos. So I'm going to find about 50 different travel tips, and I'm going to do short videos to give you some travel tips. So we want a big playlist of travel tips in New Zealand, just something to share with you guys as well. There's some simple things, taking one subject every probably every week, and do some short travel tips of New Zealand as well. So we will be doing this one as well. So here you go. We will head on the road around New Zealand at some point as well this year. So we're going to take you guys on the road with us to see some places in New Zealand. We're probably going to go around the Taranaki area because we feel like it's one of the places that we haven't spent enough time on. So we may take you to the round-shaped Mount Taranaki and some of those kind of places as well. So I hope that you guys are going to enjoy that. All right, let's go back to the live chat. Enough about us. It's not about us. This channel is about you guys and your questions. Damien Ray say, what do you think about Gisborne? Is it a good place for living? I was literally just talking about the East Cape. What do you think about Gisborne, Laura?
Yeah, it's a really, it's definitely a really cool place to live. We have spent quite a lot of time in Gisborne, and it's known for having generally good weather. So if you're looking for more sunnier days, a bit warmer than, for instance, living sort of central North Island and below, it's generally a bit warmer there. It's known for its vineyards, its beautiful beaches.
If you are into wines,
yes,
you are going to love Gisborne.
Yes, so vineyards, beaches, surfing is really popular there as well. It's also a place where you can sort of experience more of the Maori culture, because there's a big Maori culture presence there as well. So you can sort of also experience the real New Zealand there. It's also a little bit off the beaten track, so you don't always feel like you're in a super touristy city or anything. You're generally surrounded by basically locals, which is quite different to a lot of the other cities in New Zealand. So it's quite a unique sort of place.
It's definitely is more of a local holiday spot
Yes.
than an international holiday spot. So it's definitely a different vibe, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. When it comes to job-wise, if you come in New Zealand on a working holiday visa, there is a ton of horticultural work over there. So there is really a lot of like vineyard works and all that. So it's quite easy to do some seasonal work in Gisborne as well, which is a really good advantage to the town.
Yeah.
So in short, Damien, Gisborne, hell yeah, go there. It's
Yeah.
really good. What do we have? We have Extreme Talota that says we got to run before the rugby league starts up and play league just as a ref. Okay, yeah, cool.
Nice.
MB says he's biased. He really likes Gisborne because they have beautiful beaches. He's from Tolaga Bay, Uawa. One of the only tribe not to sign the treaty. Interesting.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So Tolaga Bay, we actually do have a video of us visiting Tolaga Bay actually on the channel. So if you want to check out more about Gisborne, Damien, there's a lot of videos of us checking out Gisborne on the channel. David Burrows. So as usual, guys, we're going to read all the comments. So don't panic if we are a little bit behind. So David Burrows says, I was originally supposed to travel from the US to New Zealand in July 2020 when the borders were closed. Air New Zealand held the value of my ticket in credit. Oh, we are in the same situation.
Yes.
Let's They said at the time that the credit will be used throughout 2021. With the borders continuing to be closed, do you think that the credits like these are likely to be extended to 2022? Well, we certainly hope so, because we do also have some international tickets with New Zealand which are due to expire. I mean, or at least the credit of it is due to expire. I'm not 100% sure how they're going to be dealing with that. I think that the best way to do it is literally to call them and to kind of harass them. If you kind of a little bit of thorn in their
butt.
In the butt, yeah. If you throw in the butt a little bit, or in the thighs, or just you can just go for the calf, or you don't have to. But if you're a little bit on the thigh, they may more likely to be a bit more helpful. You know, if you kind of keep on following. But if you kind of just hope that they will be the one contacting you and say, "Here's your credit for later," that may not be the case. But yeah, we're in exactly the same situation, and actually, it is on my list of things to do next week, dealing with New Zealand. So I may be able to give you an update next week on how that worked for us. But hopefully there will be. The other thing that I thought of is that maybe that'd be the case of like I have to book a really expensive flight now, which has like, you know, credits, like a refund policy. So like a premium economy or something like that. I may have to book that flight and it has a refund. You know, I use that credit to book that flight and it has a refund capability on it. And then I let the flight expire and then ask for my refund, and then I'm going to be credited again. And then that credit may be valid for another 12 months afterwards. So that's another kind of idea that I had to try to make that work. You know, if they say no, we can't give you a refund, I'm just gonna do a last ditch attempt at doing that. Yeah. So yeah, it is really tricky, and that's the reason why for international flight, unless we actually really have to, we go with Air New Zealand, because they don't have great kind of refund policies. Also, we find some other airlines are much more flexible with their travelers. So for this reason, it's a bit upsetting, and especially since, you know, we are Kiwis now, and so that means that we technically own Air New Zealand, since it's New Zealand, or very much owns, because New Zealand, like the New Zealand government owns the majority of the share of the company, so it's a bit frustrating. Anyway, we're not going to go over all the politics of that, but in short, I say call them regularly about it, and you may get different information depending on who you talk to as well, which is kind of frustrating. So yeah, Christina Holden says, I've been wondering the same thing, David, as we had our trip booked for October, November 2020. Going to call Air New Zealand and see what's the story is there. Yeah, definitely. And feel free, David and Christina, when you guys have called them, maybe this week, call them and then get back to us next week and tell us what happened, so we can kind of share this information. I also will share what happened to our tickets as well. But yeah, there is some context that definitely needs to be addressed right here, and I feel like there's a lot of Kiwis that have some. I think that was something like about 100,000 flight that was, they had to be cancelled, and they decided not to refund and everything like that. So, and just give credit for, but I don't know how long they were planning for the border closure to happen as well. So yeah. Jonathan Boucher says, thank you, Robin and Laura. I really appreciate your work. Jonathan from the United States. Nice. Ooh. Thank you very much for just taking the time to say hi. It's really good to actually have some viewers that actually just take the time to say hi. I always like that. Extreme Talota is gone now. He says, see you guys next week. See you next week, mate. Enjoy the run. GP, do you want to read that comment?
GP Umrongo So P.
I'm glad I didn't have to say that.
Says, hi, may I know about the next intake for international students? When is the border opening? So yeah, basically the New Zealand borders are closed to all international travelers, including international students. The only people that the borders are open to are New Zealand residents or New Zealand citizens. And anyone that does come into the country has to spend 2 weeks in quarantine, which comes with a pretty hefty fee. So yeah, in short, the borders are closed right now, and there has been no recent update to say when the borders are going to open to international students. Although we do have a video on this channel which goes through our border predictions, and we even go through a little section there on when we think the borders will open for international students. But basically, in short, there's been no official updates right now for when they are going to take the next intake of students into New Zealand. But if you do want to check out our video, it's very easy to find on the channel. It's bright red and yellow. You can't miss it. And yeah, just head to the channel to check out our border predictions, and there will be more context and information for you there.
All right. And so all that is obviously prediction and speculation. The only official information question that we had is a quote from the Minister of Education, which his name is Chris Hipkins, and here is what he says when asked about border restrictions for students throughout 2021. He said, "We are likely to see border restrictions continue over the next 12 to 18 months, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the border restrictions look exactly the same during that time. So we are going to be looking to try and do everything that we can to create pathways for international students to come to New Zealand." So they'll try, but so far there's no changes.
Yeah.
All right. So I hope that was helpful for you, GP Humo Ronzo. If it was, make sure to hit the like button. It's a great way to say thank you for all our hard work. Just hitting like button, it tells YouTube that we are, kind of working hard. David Burrows says, David Burrows says, "I just checked on the Air New Zealand website, and now it says the credit have been extended for booking throughout December 2021 and travel through December 2022. Here you go.
Well, there you go.
So, hopefully that's going to be the case for my ticket as well. As I said, I'm going to check out that next week, and I'll let you know. But yeah, fingers crossed. Lenny Annie says, "Hi, Robin and Laura. What's up?
What's up?"
MB is rectifying what I said. The New Zealand government owned under half of Air New Zealand, which is essentially operated as a private entity. So just under half. I thought that was just above half, but because I thought they just got some extra shares due to COVID. But yeah, I may be wrong on that. Mahmoud says, "Hello from Dubai. How are you doing?"
Doing
Dubai. That's
pretty
cool.
well.
Nice.
Yeah. Are
How
you
hot
doing
is it in
okay?
Dubai? Yeah, doing pretty awesome. Christina says, "On the phone with Air New Zealand now. We'll let you know what she says."
Oh, nice. Okay. I like this proactiveness.
Yeah, I love that. I like the just live follow up on that.
Yeah.
And also we'll see how long you are going to be on hold, because you only have 19 more minutes of these live sessions. So they better pick up with the next 19 minutes. Clay Bryant says, "Have you thought about doing videos on traveling in New Zealand if you are into certain things like brewery, vineyard, fishing spot, surfing spot, and things like that?" We did. We do actually have, multiple brewery tour videos on the channel. We have multiple time of us tasting way too many wine tasters and, being very merry. We have some videos of us fishing. And we do have some videos of us surfing. So yes, we definitely do have those. Combining them all together may come into like those travel tips videos that I'm going to be making and that I just talked about. So yeah, we may actually end up doing those kind of things. But it's a bit more like restrictive. Who's coming to New Zealand to just see breweries? It's a bit of a niche. But yeah, we'll do that probably as part of when I'm trying to do 50 different travel tips video, that's a tall order, right? I think I can come up with about 20, and then I'm going to start trying to come with some ideas. But us experiencing those kind of tours, we got really, really a lot of them. But we don't have one of us surfing Colac Bay, which is one of my regrets surfing-wise. So just something that just came to my mind.
I think we were booked to go in, but I think one of us was ill and we were like, we shouldn't go in the water if we're feeling really bad. So yeah, we had to cancel that one.
Can you read what Damien says?
Okay, so Damien says, "Which is the biggest foreign community in New Zealand? Who dominates?" I'm not quite sure who's the biggest.
I think Pacific Islanders.
Yeah.
If you put them as a group, like Polynesia. Obviously, if it's just individual kind of countries and everything, like, Fiji, Samoa and everything, represent a very small amount of the foreigner community here in New Zealand. But if you put the whole Pacific Islands together, I think Pacific Islanders are definitely the largest community here in New Zealand. After that, really, we don't have any stats on that, so we don't really know. And also it will depend on cities and also in suburbs. It happens really often in many places in the world. In some places, in the US and everything, you have some cities which literally have the Italian areas. Like in New York, there is some places.
Chinatown.
You have Chinatown,
Little
those
Italy,
kind of Little Italy and all those kind of things. So you do have those specific kind of areas and everything. So it really depends on kind of which suburb you're living into. But yeah, we don't have any specific stats on that, but I think that the largest one is Pacific Islanders. In fact, we do have some Pacific Islander like Polyfest festivals in New Zealand to celebrate their cultures. MB is wishing good luck to Christina. That's cool. Lenny says, "I have a request. Can you please do a chat with overseas physiotherapists migrating from India or any Asian countries and settle there? I'd like to know the correct pathways." Sorry, it's migrated, not migrating. We don't know where to get started with that. Also, we're not an immigration channel, so you may want to contact other YouTube channels which are more focused on immigrating. We are definitely more focused on traveling. So if you do have questions about travel things or things you want to do, planning an itinerary around New Zealand and all that, that's more like the kind of thing that we do. We dabbled a little bit into the New Zealand culture as well to kind of give you an understanding about what you can expect in New Zealand. And we talk very, very remotely about immigrating in New Zealand. It's really more like when we talk immigration, we usually talk about the visitor visa or something called the working holiday visa, which are for backpackers coming to take a gap year in New Zealand. That's pretty much what we're doing right here. Sometimes there is a lot of requests about students and everything, so we answer 1 or 2 questions, but it's really not the core purpose of the channel. So I feel like this is not something that we'll be able to do for you at this stage. But ask some other YouTube channel which are focused on immigration in New Zealand, and I'm pretty sure they'll be happy to oblige. Clay say he haven't searched for video of us doing stuff. My bad. That's so good. There's over 1,000 videos on the channel actually. As of a couple of months ago, we passed 1,000 videos, so that's a lot to sieve through. MB says healthcare professionals are sought after. I think so.
Yeah.
Robert's talking to you.
Okay, Robert says, hey, Laura, this question is for you, the sane one. On day 350, board sanding at Cape Reinga, for someone twice your age, would it be a good idea? I think it would be a good idea as long as you are fit enough, basically, to walk up a very steep and sandy hill. Do it twice before I was like, I don't know if I want to go up there again. But as long as you can sort of power your way up a sandy sand dune, which is very hard because as soon as you stand on the sand, obviously you sink down and it's twice the effort to get up there. But as long as you don't have any issues with your ankles or anything, because you have to use your feet to sort of slow yourself down. And if you have I imagine if you have weak ankles or issues with your legs, you could maybe hurt yourself a little bit if you're trying to, slow yourself down as you're going down the sand dune. But other than that, I would definitely say that it would be very easy for someone twice my age to do it. I think there were people actually that were twice my age doing it. So there was people of all ages giving it a go. I feel like the real younger ones give it a go about 3 to 5 times. I could only do it twice before I was absolutely worn out, and maybe
I did it 3 times. I did 1 more than you.
I think you had your arm broken, so you didn't do it.
Did I?
Yeah, maybe.
No.
Well, maybe not. Oh, you were filming, maybe. I'm not sure.
I did some sandboarding.
Yeah, we did. There's different places around New Zealand you can do sandboarding.
Oh, not in Cape Reinga. Yeah. That was with in Whangarei. Was it with this guy?
In
in Whangarei with the 4-wheel drive. Don't you remember?
Yeah.
It's not Haipara. Haipara is in Northland.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's
also why is Laura the sane one? That's my question. I want to know why she's the one sane one. I can tell you she's as crazy as I am.
Because imagine asking that question to you, you'd be like, "Yeah, it's totally fine.
Just have fun.
Do it stood up."
Do it stood up. No, I would not recommend that.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, and I hope that makes it clear for whether that would be appropriate for you to do it. Obviously, I don't know what if you're But
I can't remember the name of that guy that we did. It was in Whangarei. Anyway, it's going to be on my tongue for the whole day. Lenny Annie says, I hope you remember me. I was the one that raised the question about earthquake. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And you say, that's okay. He's just he was just a request and he's happy. Good to know that you're happy. All right. Christina Holden says, yes, as with their website, you still have until the 31st of December to book until the end of 2022. For those outside New Zealand, you won't see a credit on your account. You call and your credit is there. Interesting. So I'll tell you about mine, but that is good sign. I'm really happy with that, guys. So between David and Christina, we're getting some good news right here. So that's great.
Awesome. Good teamwork, guys.
Yes. Can you read the comments from that guy?
Okay, so we have Omo Yajoa.
Just that.
Or Sober.
There you go.
Sober from Nigeria saying, just want to say you guys are doing a great hope to be in New Zealand soon. Well, we hope that you can come to New Zealand soon. Yeah.
Irshad is saying, good morning, both. Good morning, Irshad. How are you doing today? Michael Connell said the government owed 52% of Air New Zealand after another bailout in 2017. Aha! So just above half. I knew that was just above half. Gilvan Sena says, hi guys, Gilvan from Brazil. You talk so fast like me. Many viewers don't have English as a mother tongue. Oh yeah, I tend to have this problem. I always speak too fast. So I really appreciate the fact you tell me to slow down. So if you guys ever feel like I'm talking too fast, just say it in the comment. It's something that I actually hear quite often. So I'm not offended by it whatsoever, but really going to help me to kind of remember and just relax a little bit. So thank you so much for your feedback, Gilvan. I will speak slower for the rest of this live session, and people will have Gilvan Sena from Brazil to thank for that. So here you go. Thank you, Gilvan. Remember to show up every week at 8 a.m. New Zealand time during our live session
to
tell me to slow down. Thank you very much. But no, seriously, it is very, very good feedback, and it's very good to actually tell me regularly. Christina Holden, which is still talking about her experience with Air New Zealand right now, trying to know if she still have some credit with Air New Zealand to spend. She says, Charlotte, who answered the call in a minute, was wonderful to chat with and very helpful. Here you go. Good customer service from Air New Zealand. I love that. Damien Reyes is asking, Laura, is the Chatham Island similar to Stewart Island?
Not really. So Stewart Island is about 80% of the island is actually a national park, and most of the island has like really long multi-day hikes on there. There's a lot of there's a lot of native wildlife, native birds, and they have one small town on the island called Oban. It's more like a small village, really. So that's what Stewart Island is basically like in a nutshell. Whereas in the Chatham Islands, a lot of the Chatham Islands is used for sheep farming in particular. So you'll find a lot of green pastures there. There's no national park, although there is a very small reserve with some very short walks to do there. But it's a lot less developed. There isn't really a bit like a town like Oban there. So yeah, that's how those two islands differ. Stewart Island is generally a bit easier to get to because there's a ferry you can
very accessible.
Yeah, you can take a ferry from Bluff, which is at the bottom of the South Island, or you can take a flight from Invercargill, again in the bottom of the South Island. Whereas the Chatham Islands are quite far away. They require a flight from, I think they do flights from Wellington. They may do flights from elsewhere in New Zealand. I'm not quite sure, but you have to take more of basically a longer flight to get there.
All right, so JP says, could you please let me know when the border will reopen? JP, we do have a video on the channel with our border opening predictions. To find this video, it's pretty simple. You just click on the logo of our channel, and once you're on our channel page, click on video. Then scroll through and you will find our border opening prediction number 5. It's a big thumbnail with a bright red and yellow text on there. You'll be able to find all our detailed explanation on how we came up with those predictions and what our predictions are. Now, in short, for most international travelers, we think that the New Zealand border will reopen by in the end of 2021, so November or December 2021, or in 2022 at the earliest. But check out the full video with much more details. We're talking about students. We're talking about a lot of different stuff as well. So you may want to check that out as well. And by the way, guys, if you do find this video useful and you want to thank us for all our hard work, you can hit the like button. We have 30 people watching right now, and we have 22 likes. So there's 8 of you that forgot to click like, or that just all click dislike. I hate you guys. You can click dislike as well. It's fine. It's actually kind of fun to see that. Anyway, Airshan says, can New Zealand citizens travel to the USA on a tourist visa right now, or USA borders are also closed for New Zealand citizens? So from what I know, I actually do think that New Zealand citizens can travel to the USA if they want to. However, coming back to New Zealand will be really hard since you have to go to quarantine. Going to quarantine in New Zealand incurs a 3,100 New Zealand dollar fee and 14 days in government-managed facilities, which are really nice hotels, but still, you have to go through this entire process. So it's extremely expensive, but technically doable, yes. Again, that's just what I think I know. We're not immigration experts or anything like that. So, yeah. And also, we're not traveling to the USA. We are focusing on traveling in New Zealand. Sumudu says, "Hey, good morning. Any prediction on when will the border opens from Sri Lanka?" Oh, that's a nice country.
Yeah.
So the same answer applies. Check out our videos with our border opening predictions, and we still have the same predictions, which is going to be either November, December 2021 at the earliest, but probably in 2022. I'm still speaking a little bit slower. I hope that it's okay for you, Gilvan from Brazil. Tell me if it's still too fast for you. Robert is responding to your answer and said, "Food for thought. Thanks."
Cool.
Make sure you don't do it stand up, though. Don't do the standboarding standing
Yeah.
up. Steve Changela has a question for you.
Says, "Hi, Rob and Laura. Great work. I love your show. Do you guys know if New Zealand will require all travelers to be vaccinated or have proof of being vaccinated against COVID-19? Do you want to take that one?
Yeah. So far there is no policies that have been issued by the New Zealand government. So I don't think that we'll be able to comment on that one just yet. But as soon as we actually know what are the requirements, then at this point we will be able to actually let you guys know. And so that's why we actually do those travel news update videos. So make sure to hit subscribe so you get notified when that happens. But yeah, we don't know right now. We can have some suspicions, but that's pretty much it. MB says, "If you French kiss someone that has been COVID-19 vaccinated, does it transfer immunity?" We're
definitely the people to ask that.
Yes, and
question
also
too.
no, that is not how vaccine works.
Yes.
I mean, obviously that was a joke, but I know that some people sometimes take things that people say on YouTube at face value, so that's why I kind of feel the need to answer. It's no, that's not how vaccine works. JP say, "Thank you so much for responding to my query." No problem. Okay. Clay says, "Good question, NB, but I think it's more important to know if a French kiss is called that in French or if it's just a kiss." Yeah, I don't think French kiss is a thing in France. It's just a kiss. So yeah, that's
But is a kiss in France
It's
just
just
where
like-
they peck you on the cheek when you say bonjour to
Okay,
each other?
it's the same like French fries, right? Obviously, in France, we don't call them French fries, and they're not from France anyway. They're from Belgium, and people from Belgium or half the people in Belgium happen to speak French. So people in the USA ended up being like, they speak French, therefore they're French, and they cut potatoes in tiny shapes, so we're gonna call it French fries. It's not French. I'm pretty sure kissing has not been invented by the French, so I do not know. But to answer your question, no, French kiss is not called French kiss in France. It's called a kiss. It's a kiss. Michael Stace says, "Hi. I said I was going to do the seal swimming experience in our last live video. When I did, I did it. Amazing time. My
Wow.
next activity is airboarding in the Waimariki River. Oh, you're gonna have a blast." Okay, so I'm glad you did the seal swimming in Kaikoura. Did you say hi to them from us, by the way? But yeah, it's one of my favorite activities to do in New Zealand. So did the seal come like close to you? Did you just kind of stand still and did the seal come close to you? Do you have some videos or photos to share with us? Send it to us on Facebook. I love to see them. It's one of my favorite activities in New Zealand.
So cool.
Christina is laughing at MB and Clay. You guys are absolutely ridiculous. I love it. Gilvan, from Brazil. Just tell me that his name is Gilvan. Yeah, I'm terrible with names, but I'm going to work on that. And he says, yes, it's better now that I'm speaking slower, and say thank you. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the feedback for real. And Damien says, are you planning to visit your family in England and France? Well, you can't really do that right now. So it's a flat no at the moment, of course.
I think I wouldn't want to go back home, risk getting COVID, and then visiting all my family to give them all COVID. So
Yeah.
I would say that no, it didn't seem like a good idea at the moment.
Yeah, not a good idea at the moment.
Yeah.
International travel, not a good idea
No.
right now. And hanging out with people internationally, not a good idea right now. We hang out with people in New Zealand and it works well. We're going to stick to doing that for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Yashwin says, I am planning to settle in New Zealand. Where will be more cricket clubs in New Zealand? I'd say you probably have more cricket clubs in the Auckland area because there are
Yes.
more people there. There is about half the, how many people? Yeah, about half the population. No. About a quarter of the population in New Zealand is living in Auckland, so that's probably where you're going to be able to find the most crickets.
I think there's more people living in Auckland than there is in the entire South Island. Is one of the comparisons people often make.
Yeah. Can you read the next comment?
So Anthony says, "Stay safe, but I'll be here till the end." Cool. Thank you, Anthony, for joining us once again. We have Michael saying, "I did say hi to the seal swim people for you. The seals did come close, and my pics and video are on my Instagram page." Cool, and he is sharing his Instagram handle, so everyone can.
Sir Mike
Stace.
Oh, Sir Mike Stace. Are you a sir? Are you really a sir? that is classic.
Is anyone a sir nowadays?
Yeah, you can be knighted.
Oh, that's true.
Queen has to do something.
The Queen is still around, I guess.
Yeah.
She's got to be doing something.
I'm going to try to find how that works. You can read some comments. I'm going to try to Instagram someone.
Okay. All right, Grandad.
I'm so old.
So we have BJNG saying, "To Laura and Robin, thank you very much for your reply to me earlier this week. The corona plague situation worldwide is generally worsening. We shall stay safe in our bubble for now." Well, that's a smart idea, BJNG. Yeah, cool. So, and we also have Osama saying, "Have you visited India before?" No, we haven't visited India before. It sounds like, an amazing place. A lot of people have, especially on the live chat, are always saying that they will give us a tour around India and that sort of thing. And that would be amazing. But definitely no plans in the foreseeable future to go to India for obvious reasons.
Nice. Look at that. Look at the picture from Mike. That's really cool.
I
love it. Yeah.
From the seal swim.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Anyway, Mike, you got a new follower. By the way, if you guys want us to follow you on Instagram, just give us your art, and we're always happy to oblige. So, Michael Stace, Sir Mike, you've got a new follower. Here you go. Where are we on?
We are at Michael Connell.
All right. What is he talking about? In France, it is referred as un baiser amoureux, a lover's kiss, or un baiser avec la langue, a kiss with the tongue. We're very specific. This is
a kiss with a tongue, not just a peck on the cheek.
Factual in France apparently, and was previously known as a baiser florentin, a Florentine kiss. Interesting. So, who is this Florentin guy which went around and kissed women with the tongue and made it famous? Interesting.
I don't know, but it seems like Michael knows all the answers. He seems to be an encyclopedia of random facts.
He does know how to use a search engine. It's one of the other.
Yeah, that's true. We don't have quite access to easy search engines ourselves right now, but usually, yes, I would just Google it if I wanted to know the answer.
Nice. So MB says that he did visit India during the 90s and indeed an Asia overland tour from Nepal to Turkey. Oh, that is a massive tour. That's awesome. Do you want to read what Onik says?
Okay, Onik asks when New Zealand borders will open for international students.
All right, Onik, I'm going to read the only official news that we have. It's a quote from Mr. Chris Hipkins, the Minister of Education, and he says, "We are likely to see the border restrictions continue over the next 12 to 18 months. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the border restriction will look exactly the same during that time. So we are going to be looking to try to do everything that we can to create pathways for international students to come to New Zealand." So in short, there is nothing opening just yet, and there is likely to be border restriction until 2022. Now, we do have a full video in which we actually analyze this sentence, analyze the kind of information that we currently have, and it is easy to find on the channel. You go on our videos, and then you find the latest video that says border opening predictions. And if you watch this one, Onik, you get all the information you know. We worked really hard on that. It takes us actually quite a lot of work to gather all the information and understand what everything means and come up with our predictions. So check it out. It's definitely worth a watch. Clay says, "Ever thought about making another sign with a border link?" I should actually do a sign with a border link, but
we
you
should
know
have
what?
like on the back of it, like Immigration New Zealand.
Should be that's my bad. I have this sign, and here you flip it, you get a white version. I should have had this is the link for Immigration New Zealand. That'd be actually
that would have been. That's a good idea. Where were you, Clay, when we were designing
then
this?
People are going to think we work for Immigration New Zealand. That's really dangerous.
Yeah,
so I'm not
attempting
attempting any of that. I rather tell people this is not our job. We do all the stuff. So here you go.
Okay.
Onyx says thank you, and there's another comment, Laura. Would you like to read that?
Okay, BJNG says Sir Paul McCartney, Sir Elton John, Sir Robin, Sir and it continues. So yeah, that he's naming some people that have become a sir in recent years.
Michael Stay says, thank you for the follow. You made my day. No problem, mate. We're very happy. As I said, if you guys want us to follow you on Instagram or on Facebook or anything like that, just give us the @ or the this or the that, and we're always happy to oblige. I really did like your picture. They were really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah. I hope that you have other good things happening to you today. I mean, I want you to have more than just that. And make sure you post some pictures of you doing the airboarding. I want to see them on Instagram as well. And
is the airboating jet boating or
no airboarding? Like
I think you said airboating. And I know on the Waimak River they do jet boats there.
Yeah,
anyway, it doesn't matter. Let us know what you actually mean. I guess with a photo we'll be able to understand.
Airboating. Oh, I misread it. I thought that was like, this airboat that you have, like you have the 2 jets at the bottom.
Yeah. I think they do jet boating on the Waimak River. They call it for short. Yeah.
All right, guys. So that is going to wrap up our entire live session. We spent an hour with you guys talking about everything about traveling in New Zealand, things to do with Skid in Dunedin. We also did talk about the best cities to do a working holiday visa in New Zealand. We did talk about.
We talked about things to do in Dunedin with kids. Did you already mention that?
Yes, I already mentioned that. We talk about best place in New Zealand with Cricket Club. So and many other things. We talk about Air New Zealand as well for quite a while.
Air New Zealand credit, and has it been extended? And we found out that it will be extended until for booking in 2022.
I better get the same answer, by the way. If I don't get the same answer, I'm going to be really upset. All right, guys. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back here next week at 8 a.m. New Zealand time. There's a link in the description below at what time that's going to be. And the video is already up on the channel, so you can click on there and you get a notification there. I actually load some more by the end of the week. In the meantime, what are the last thing that people say is Michael Stay says it's airboating. It's owned by a jet boating company. So yeah, that was airboating. Cool. Laura was right. Yashwin says, I'm from India, planning to study in New Zealand. There will be a different climate condition in New Zealand. Definitely come back next week with this question. We'll go over climate if you want. Michael says he's going to flick us a message on Messenger for the template so I can get a bumper sticker for the blue NZ.
Nice.
No problemo. BJN says, do not get married until we arrive. We are not planning on getting married. Stop with that. Christina says, have a wonderful week. Michael says, have a great week. Next week, I will be watching you from sunny Russell.
Ooh, lovely.
Ooh, you're going to be dressed as a pirate because he was kind of the hellhole of the Pacific back in the days, Russell. He's taking his motor home for a shakedown run after her service in preparation for upcoming South Island trips. Martina says, see you next week. Enjoy your time in Germany. Enjoy the snow. And Clay said, that's a cool idea, Michael. I rock a bumper sticker. Lol. Okay. Well, we'll work on bumper stickers then. All right. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
See you next week and stay safe.
Stay safe.